So it's a real honor to be here to talk to you.
It's an honor to be here with you. What are you talking about?
A lot of people ask me why am I so into spatial computing, VR, AR, all the other things that are coming with it. And I always talk about my son, Milan, who's 11 and is autistic, and heavily autistic. He's not like Bram Cohen, who invented BitTorrent, who's Asperger's autistic, right? He has real significant problems in communicating with people. He has trouble even crossing a street and paying attention, right? And he's going to have significant problems in his life, but he loves looking at screens, right? And he's very adept at navigating YouTube. He had an iPad when he was a year and a half old, right? And he figured out how to navigate YouTube through the related videos. So he's really adept at technology. And going around the R&D labs around the world, you realize, by the time he's out of high school, he's going to have something that looks like these, right? That's going to give him a visual field in front of him, and that's going to have a 3D sensor and probably a lot of 3D sensors, right? And it's going to really help him to live. And you guys are on the forefront of that. Maybe you should tell me,
Wow.
Your company. Well, who are you?
To be told that we're at the forefront of this, that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of pressure. But thank you, because that's I think
you're in the church of VR. We're here at Boost VC, which is like I call it the spiritual center of the VR industry. Right?
It's the cathedral.
Yeah.
So my name is Andy Chavez, and myself, along with the other co-founders, Andrea Villegas. She is our researcher at the University of Florida in behavior analysis. Amy Escalante, she's our practitioner. She's been practicing behavior analysis for, already a little over 10 years. So providing direct therapy to kids, teenagers, and adults with autism and developmental disabilities. And Chris, who leads our tech team and our human resources. We're based out of Gainesville, Florida, at the Youth Innovation Hub. But right now we're in beautiful San Mateo, the peninsula, and I don't think we've ever been happier to be in the church of VR. Because there's so many individuals such as yourself and others that we can speak fluently about virtual reality, basically 24/7. So it's great. So we do virtual reality using evidence-based curriculums found in ABA. ABA is Applied Behavior Analysis. You might be familiar with this, Robert. ABA is probably one of the most sought after therapies for autism, along with occupational and speech-language pathology. So essentially, an ABA therapist or a behavior therapist will see a child anywhere between 10 and 40 hours a week.
Most people don't know what ABA is. People who have an autistic child in their lives know what it is, but explain what ABA is when you're working with a child. What kinds of things is a therapist doing to try to get them to have better behavior or understand how to do a task, how to interact, how to look at somebody, right?
Right.
For autistic kids, it's really hard to learn to look in somebody's eyes. It's really hard to pay attention to social cues.
So that's an excellent question. So essentially, applied behavior analysis, or ABA, branches from behavioral science as we know it from B.F. Skinner, right? And then even further back from that, we're talking about Ivan Pavlov, right? Classical operant conditioning, ringing of the bell, the dog salivates, been conditioned to think that's going to get food. So that sort of line of thought has evolved into a heavily successful and evidence-based curriculum for teaching, right? Not just autism, but if you look at all these different subsections of behavior, right? You have behavior economics, you have OBM, Organizational Behavioral Management, which is more so on the corporate level, right? This all stems from that sort of branch of psychology, right?
Yeah.
How does that look like, right, in our particular case? So essentially, if you were to drop into a session, it's going to look a lot like playtime, right, quite frankly. Like you'll see a therapist just playing around with a child, but really what they're doing is that they could be doing a preference assessment, right? So what does the child respond to better, right? Do they like squishy toys or do they want the car? And if it's the car, then do they like the big car or the small car? If it's the big car, is it the big car, the big blue car or the big red car, right? A lot of preference assessments to find out what their motivators are, right? You grab the motivator and then you start shaping behaviors, right? So let's say you brought up the example of like looking at people, right? Well, what is one component of looking at someone but moving your head in their direction, right? So we might shape that behavior by maybe in real life, we would probably do something like put some goofy glasses on the therapist, right? And that's like, well, look at the glasses. Now you're looking at the glasses. And then we slowly fade out the goofy glasses where no longer are they looking for the goofy glasses, they're looking for your face.
Yeah.
Right? And then you can get smaller and more granular in your behavior in terms of like, how about vision? What are they looking at?
Yeah.
Right? So,
and in the Snapchat world, we're always going to have goofy glasses on, right?
Always. We're always going to have goofy glasses. So,
which will really help these kids to pay attention because my son loves looking at screens and looking at virtual things, right? He can be very focused on a cartoon or something like that. But looking in somebody's eyes as a human is really tough. But if I put a cartoon on top of you, he's very willing to look at that. Right? So you can just start to see how using VR or AR is going to radically change this field over the next few years.
I'll take it a step further than that too. And I would have to look at these studies and probably decipher them for you. But there are lines of thought revolving around, well, is it that they can't look at you, or is it that physiologically it hurts to look at people?
Yeah.
Right? Like, if I'm looking at you right now, I can't stand it, right? Almost. Like, then what do we do about that? Right? I think that's where AR brings up an interesting component, where if that's the case, can we mask the public faces with like, I don't know, like some sort of crazy mask, right? Like it's also about understanding where they're at, right? And understanding what they want, right? So it's a two-way street here, because ultimately we want them to have agency in their lives, right? In every aspect. But there are some components of that you must know, like crossing the street, like a fire drill, like stranger danger. Those are very basic components of life that no matter what you have, right, you must know, right? These are survival skills. And then we can go down the gamut of, well, these are basic and emergency skills, right? But then there are independent skills, riding an elevator, going up an escalator, going to a dental office, right? And then there's leisure skills where it comes to play where it's that interesting transitionary period between being a teenager and being an adult, right? That transition, that's a huge issue within the field now. What happens there? Because all of a sudden, depending on what type of insurance you have, hours can go down, right? So if you have a child that is maybe not severely autistic.
You just brought up something really interesting. When you have one of these children, it's very expensive. It costs $2,500 just to take the test to learn he was autistic.
Wow.
Right? Because we had a really great psychologist who worked with him for a few hours, and that's what she charges. She's one of the best in Silicon Valley, and there's a lot of autistic kids here. Right? What if you don't have that money?
What if you don't have that money?
You don't find out. And then the school system screws you, and it gets worse and worse and worse. Right? I've been gifted with the ability to pay that kind of fee for a while, but I see other parents really struggle with getting the psychological help, getting the therapist, getting the training. He goes to a speech therapist every week, right? And she's worked magic for him. When we first learned he was going to be autistic, or he was autistic, the doctor said, you might never talk to him. he's very severe, right? And now he's talking because of the speech therapist, right? But that costs money every week. And I think with your company, if you get to where you're going, you're going to be able to be much cheaper for therapy, right? And in a few years, we're going to have glasses on all the time. Mm-hmm. So you're going to start moving into a field where you can give this therapy all day long, mm-hmm. right? And start assisting the person in living. That might be $1,500 for an Apple glasses or a Facebook glasses or mm-hmm. Magic Leap or whatever happens. Yeah. Right? But it's a lot cheaper than paying, all the therapists all day long. It's cheaper for the insurance company, so the insurance company might come along.
Exactly.
Right? And it's cheaper for the parents and the kids are probably going to take to it much faster because they're going to figure out they can watch YouTube or play Fortnite or play Minecraft in the glasses really nicely, much better than on a flat display. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, I can also use all this other stuff to help me live and help me get better at school and help me get better with my friends and stuff like that.
We're collectively democratizing therapy and facilitating its ubiquitousness in a field that needs it. Desperately.
I bet even if a human's involved, and we might go controversial, and how many years is it before there's no human therapy involved, right? Before Magic Leap is already showing us a virtual character called Micah, and Micah in 5 years will be sitting in this room with me if I'm wearing a Magic Leap glass, and I'm sure Apple will do one, and there's others coming, Lucy. But these things look like humans. They will eventually talk like humans. They'll actually interact with us like humans. I mean, Micah at the Game Developer Conference was playing games with a human, right? Wearing the glasses. So soon, my son might have a therapist who isn't a human at all. Right? 10 years from now, 5 years from now, I don't know, but it's coming.
It's coming.
And even if there is a human involved, Micah might realize she's in over her head on a certain thing and call up a remote therapist who a remote human jumps in and adds a little human touch.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
I am, and we are in full agreement with each other, right? And it is a scary thought sometimes to think that the machine will be providing therapy, but
hey, my car drove to here. I live streamed it on Twitter, and one of the people said, "That's terrifying to watch." And I go, it's not terrifying to me because I've used it for 10,000, 20,000 miles, right? But it was terrifying the first couple 100 miles because it's like a machine is driving me, and I'm putting my trust in my life in its hands, right? And same thing here. It's terrifying to think about some of these new technologies that are coming along and what we're going to give to the AI in the sky, Micah, which is an AI, and it's polygons. It's terrifying to people, right?
But if you look at it historically, though, and industrialization and just technology in general has allowed us to surpass the shortcomings that the human body has, right? Like, think about travel, right? Think about how we traveled 200 years ago. Think about how we traveled 100 years ago. Think about how we traveled 50 years ago, right? I can be in Japan in 12 hours. You know how long it would take me 200 years ago? Weeks? Insane. But now we hop on planes and we don't even think about it. I mean, some people are so scared, but we just hop on planes. Right?
No, I know that humans are going to change their behavior with autonomous cars, with glasses, right? But there's a lot of fear today. I hear it over and over when I talk about these technologies or live stream or whatever. So we can't really show what it does, right?
No.
It's hard to see with these little cameras inside the VR headset. I guess we can edit in a video.
Yeah, I can definitely show you some video of, we had a 12-year-old boy try it. I think this is the same story that we mentioned on Ken's show episode. We had a 12-year-old boy try it. We weren't going at it from a clinical perspective, right? We weren't going from a research perspective. We just wanted to see if he can use it, right? Can he navigate, look left and right? Can we take it further? Can he pick his own conditions? And we actually used this headset, the Oculus Go. And
which is a $200 headset and only has 3 degrees of freedom, which means you can only move your head.
Exactly.
Like this. You can't move your body.
We're chomping at the bits
for Oculus Quest.
Yes,
everybody is
chomping at the bits.
Everybody is.
And I'm sure that'll present some new hurdles to overcome. That's okay. So I do have video of this. I can share it with you. We were just checking. We were checking if he can look left, look right, blah, blah, blah. To our surprise, he was able to do all those things. A little bit of physical prompting at first, due to the controller. Yeah. But after about the 3rd or 4th correction, right, on the physical prompting of the controller, he was able to get it, right? And he was in it for about 15 minutes, 14 minutes, way longer than we had expected. Yeah. And he did all 3 simulations: crossing the street, stranger danger, and fire drill. Always right to the 4th. Yeah. And it was great. He was able to do everything, right? Now, keeping in mind, it wasn't his first time seeing it, because he first saw it in 2D. Yeah. Right? And because that's also one thing that we're like, our vision is to help children with autism using technology. Yeah. Right? So very early on, about a year ago, we were having a much different conversation when this had come out, the Oculus Go, right? Because we couldn't convince ourselves, and we couldn't convince anyone else to purchase a Vive or a Rift to try this out. Yeah. There's just no word. This is a company at the end of the day, and we have to, make revenue, right? And we're not going to convince therapists buy a $1,200 machine plus the headset and go do it.
And set up the sensors and
no one's going to do that. No one's going to do that. And what I love about where it's going is that it really has to just become plug and play. Yeah. Like, it has to pass the grandma test. Yeah. Grandma has to be able to open it up.
You can even lock your app to be the main app when you turn it on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So that in and of itself lowers the hurdles to want to adopt this, right? People just want to get something, take it out of the box, put it on, go, right? So a year ago, we were actually deploying on WebGL. Very simple. You have a laptop, you have a tablet, just go and work it out. So we actually tried it out like that too. So we tried out 2 forms, right? Do we need virtual reality or do we not need it, right? And I think the general consensus to us is you will need it. It enhances the experience, obviously. Yeah. Right? It's going to have that immersion quality to it. You're going to have a sense of presence, right? You're going to be able to move and manipulate objects, right? Versus a 2D screen, or versus the way that it's being taught now, specifically these skill sets. It's either story time, videos, or taking them out to the actual environment. You can't control for that. That's a huge liability. That's a liability for the child himself, right, or herself, the parent, the therapist, the people driving. No, like you can never do that, right? I mean, it's done. But the resources that need to go into that, I mean, we've interviewed therapists who have had to shut down streets, right? And there's permitting for that, right? And then what are you going to do with the driving? You need someone driving. You need actors, right? You need people to come in and act as strangers, right? It's just so intensive. It's so intensive. But VR, I mean, I don't have to talk about VR with you guys. You guys, y'all, your audience and you know.
A lot of people in my audience haven't tried it yet, right?
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you would think that they have, but no, most people haven't, even in Silicon Valley, right? When I go to a party and pull it out, most people haven't tried it, and certainly most people haven't used it for more than 10 minutes, unless they haven't, right? If they're inside the bubble, and they've already bought in, yeah. But most people haven't, and they get little tastes of it if they have, right? How long have they had it? Not very long.
Well, I think something like this, going back to the Oculus Go, singing its praises.
Yeah.
This makes it so easy.
Yeah.
Like the conversation that we have with our therapist now is, well, all you have to do is grab the headset, order it on Amazon, order it directly from Oculus.
It's $200.
You'll have it in 48 hours.
No PC needed, no sensors needed, right?
Nothing.
And this is why Oculus Quest is going to be such a big deal, because it lets us actually sell VR without all the nerdy stuff, you know, and it's really huge.
And I love all the nerdy stuff. That's great, but that's a different market.
Because you and I are nerds. I don't love it anymore. I want the Oculus Quest. It's like, I don't need to update my Windows machine and keep the sensors all aimed the right way, right? My kids come in and move them around, all of a sudden I have to recalibrate. No, I just want to put on a Quest.
Yeah.
What's, so you sell this to the therapist, right? You're not yet in a business model where a parent can buy this and start using it.
No.
It really is part of a therapy session.
It is,
Those are usually the professionals. I mean, I don't do my own. I don't do ABA with my kids. I don't know how to do it. I'm not trained in that.
So we are targeting professionals first. And that has been a question within our company is, what route do we go? B2B or B2C, right? And what we concluded is B2C is the long game, but B2B is a short game, right? Because we need to make sure that the standards of practice are being adhered to, right? These are professional individuals who have gone through schooling for many, many, many years to become therapists, right? Specifically like the lead therapists, right? Like the BCBAs, and the BCADAs, and the clinical record and whatnot. And it's really important for us to maintain that. But that is not to say that a parent wouldn't be able to choose to use this under the supervision of an ABA therapist.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that would be the only way that we'd feel comfortable with it. But that's just the beginning. Like that's like 24, 36 months timeline, right? Beyond that, it's sort of that titration effect. Like you minimize this, but you increase the automation process of it. It's straight to B2B right now.
How did you get funded? I mean, you're here at Boost. How did that process go? Because I'm trying to help, but I know there's going to be hundreds or even thousands of companies that start over the next 5 years, right? And the companies that start in this field don't get funded by the people who funded Airbnb, right? Maybe there'll be some crossover, but in general, there's a new group of funders, there's a new group of journalists who cover this stuff, there's a new group of influencers, right? There's a new way, a new system being built. And so you can help out other companies that come along by telling them how you got here to Boost.
So we were self-funded for a really long time. Savings, doing the 5 to 9 instead of 9 to 5. This is our second Accelerator program. The first Accelerator program was called Boomtown in Boulder, Colorado. They were amazing. They sort of taught us the fundamentals, operationally speaking. And here at Boost has been just like an incredible experience in terms of both funding and just like...
You're here for a temporary time, right? How long are you here for?
Temporary?
It's a short time.
It's a short time. It's a short time.
It's like Y Combinator, you go for 3 months or something.
So we're here for 3 months. The program started in February. It's hard to wrap my mind that we're already on week 9 of a 12-week program.
I'll be at the demo day
nice.
in a few weeks.
Nice. I will be pitching. It will be Annie Escalante. She's our BCBA. Funding is still difficult, right? I think because a lot of folks are asking for a proof of concept, right? What are is it work? Does it work, right? Does it actually teach a skill, right? Another thing that we're also working on is one of the things that we found through our user feedback scenarios with our current customers has been, while we love what you're doing, can you make something for staff training? And can we train my staff to provide better therapy to kids?
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, of course. That makes a lot of sense. Because the current software that we have is only as good as the therapist who's actually applying it.
Yeah.
Right? So we're pursuing that model too. So we have some preliminary data.
Training in VR is really big. I mean, Jeremy Donaldson at Stanford showed me their results, and that it actually they took a camera out on the football field and learned that the quarterback got better if he watched his plays over and over again in VR, and that started a company called Stryver that's working for Walmart. But you're hitting something, right? There's going to be a lot of new kinds of training that's going to happen.
That's Annie.
Oh yeah,
Annie, can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah. So this is an interview type of meeting.
yeah. So we have,
This is Robert.
hi there.
Oh wait, let me open it.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
How are you?
So we're just hearing about the company and how you guys got started and how you got to Boost. And I have an autistic son, so we spent a lot of time talking about where this would be appropriate in therapy and who your first customers are going to be and stuff like that. Right? So it's an honor meeting you. And thanks for doing what you do, because it'll help kids like my son Milan.
Oh, no, of course. It's assisting folks in this population has truly been our passion. I don't know if Andy has told you, but both Andrea and I have worked in this field for quite some time, and we thought the current methods that are being used to teach certain skills could be improved upon, and why not use virtual reality to make the training and the educational components fun, but also educational.
Yeah.
We were just talking about how Stryver's using. They're working for Walmart, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about. We had just begun talking about training therapists to provide better therapy, and that how we've been exploring that aspect of it too.
So you might have two products soon, right? One.
We kind of do have two
children
products.
Yeah.
Which provides or presents a difficult scenario where like which one do we focus on, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that we're already like we're talking like what will provide impact now, right? But it's been an interesting ride getting here to Boost. So I guess for the current audience, right? Like it is not an easy path.
Yeah.
You're going to be told no many times.
Yeah.
We were told no by Adam the first time around.
Yeah.
We applied. He said no. No. Sorry. Well, he didn't
Silicon Valley doesn't know how to fund companies like yours. That's not what they've grown up funding, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that's an automatic exponential, Airbnb or Uber, right? That's what I'm looking for as a journalist, right? And what they're looking for as an investor, right? Is that company that can go worldwide really, really fast. Uber is probably the latest big example of that. Lyft just went public, right?
Yeah.
After they were doing one company for 7 years, and then they switched the business model to it. And it's been 5 years since the switch, right? But still, it's like $24 billion company in 5 years. That's what everybody.
That's what the money.
And it's hard to see how am I going to make that with a company that's selling to therapists and autistic kids, or very small market, right? Not very many people have an autistic child in their lives, right? So,
but it is a global issue, too, right? Like,
and one that's growing.
Last year we were talking about 1 in 68, according to the CDC. Now we're talking about 1 in 59.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a global issue that transcends socioeconomic and demographic.
And how many
backgrounds.
kids around the world are not identified as autistic? Here in Silicon Valley, we know what autism is, right? But there's a lot of people around the world who never get identified. Their kids are just a little strange. And just put them through the school system.
They're misbehaving. They're just, they need to go to detention. There's been some really, really bad some really bad scenarios that happen in countries like South America where the kids are chemically castrated.
Yeah.
And treated very poorly, treated like animals, and that shouldn't be the case. So there's a lot of education when it comes to that. Luckily, there's also a lot of work being done in that scenario. We know personally of, and this is a plug for Autism Compassion Africa, Whitney Hill. She has a center in Cape Coast, Ghana, and she's doing some incredible work. And I know she's doing incredible work because independently, I met with one of the brothers of the kids who are there, and he told me they do amazing work with my brother.
Yeah.
And that was just like incredible to me. So there are people out there that are spreading and advocating and helping this population, but we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
A very long way to go.
Even here in Silicon Valley, I see the level of care, and we were talking about, when you have enough wealth to pay the therapists and pay the teachers and get, I was telling him that I spent $2,500 just for the first test to learn what was going on with this kid, right? Because we knew he was behaving out of bounds with other kids, but we didn't know what was going on. And just that first test cost $2,500, and that put us. He was diagnosed when he was 2 years old. Some kids don't get diagnosed here, even here in Silicon Valley, until they're 4, right? Because they don't have the money to figure out why their kids misbehaving, and the school system sort of pushes them along as far as possible without really getting a good diagnosis. It's really a problem, and this is in a wealthy area, right? So can you imagine what it's like to be in an area that doesn't have this kind of expertise around the corner?
In poverty-stricken areas, I know Annie has a lot of experience in that realm, and to add on to that, there's a lot of comorbidity. I don't think I'm saying that right. With other disabilities, so you have autism and cerebral palsy, right? And you can imagine how that essentially makes the situation so much more difficult, right? It's but we're here because we're helping, right? There's a positive aspect to this in what we're doing, and I think as technology just democratizes everything, right? And we're trying to democratize therapy across fields, across disorders, across boundaries, socioeconomic boundaries, anything, right? Like that, this affects everyone, right? This doesn't affect a specific population, right? And that I think we're working in some amazing places.
I agree, and I'm real honored to. You're one of my first videos in my new series, so I wanted to start out here because this is what's driving me, is getting the industry further so that my kid, when he gets out of high school or goes through high school, has a pair of glasses that can really help him out. So thanks for the work you're doing. Anything else we need to cover?
I don't know. Annie, you came in a little late. Do you want to speak? Do you want to bring in like any sort of...
what's maybe you can talk about the science that's behind this and the research that the field is doing with these kinds of kids, because I know by going to the World Economic Forum that the science changes pretty frequently on understanding autism and how to treat it, and I bet this is a field that you have to keep up with, even building a VR company, right?
Right. Sure. So the science that we're using within the simulations that we're creating is called applied behavior analysis, which is basically, in a nutshell, the science of learning and behavior. This is considered to be a medically necessary treatment for individuals on the spectrum.
Yeah.
So typically, when a person is given therapy at a very young age, you're typically given either one of three, or likely, hopefully, all three different types of therapy. So we'll have behavior analysis, you'll also have speech and language pathology, and also occupational therapy. What's interesting is that the science that we're using, behavior analysis, that's the science or therapy that is typically given at the highest duration. So a child may be going through service for 10 to 40 hours per week, which is a lot of face time. We have decades worth of research to show and support the effectiveness of our interventions when it comes to assisting folks in the spectrum, which is kind of lovely. And a lot of those interventions are being embedded within simulations too. When it comes to behavior analytic research and assisting folks with autism through virtual reality, we don't necessarily have a lot of that, but there is a lot of research out there with virtual reality and assisting folks with autism, maybe not necessarily within our field. Yeah. And a lot of the research has been shown to be pretty effective in terms of allowing folks to see if they would be too keen on having a headset on, which is pretty good. We've also
We're losing you a little bit.
We're losing you a little bit.
Effect on certain skills, like social skills, or say things like crossing the street. I'm sorry?
No, you just glitched out a little bit.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I think the internet here today has been kind of funky. Yeah. So I do apologize about that. So so it's really interesting. I think something that we follow a lot when it comes to the research side of things is Skip Rizzo from USC. He's doing some phenomenal work with assisting folks on the spectrum, using both AR and VR to teach job interview skills for folks who are some a little older, like young adults, and the results have been really positive. So the idea of using emerging tech to assist folks on the spectrum or folks who are neurotypical, it's really promising, it's really rewarding, and it's really exciting to see what the field's going to go.
What drove you two to get in to do this company together?
So Annie and I are actually a couple. We've been together for about 8 years. Yeah. And the first 4 years were just me listening to her talking about behavior analysis. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds really cool, human behavior, yada, yada. And then we met a pair of friends out at the University of Florida, and Chris specifically was pitching something about behavior analysis in one of our classes, right, for our entrepreneurship class. And I stopped him, I said, hey, what are you talking about? Yeah. Behavior analysis? Not many people know about this. So long story short, we actually started a business plan competition. We submitted a business plan for a business plan competition, which is weird because no one uses business plans anymore. But it was part of the curriculum, we had to do it. And long story short, we ended up here using virtual reality, going to conferences. So we get invited to conferences all the time using, under the premise that, VR and AP is a thing and we're the experts at it. Which by now, I would confidently say that we probably are. And that's a statement. So, it's been, my background's not in behavioral science. Yeah. But I love it because it transcends so many different things, right? So many different aspects of life. Yeah. And it was definitely for me, it was a career change, right? And it's been quite the ride. I wouldn't change it for anything. Very cool. Ever. Ever. This is my life, this is their life, this is our co-founders' lives. This is what we do.
Very cool. Where do we learn more about it?
Behaviorme.co. Follow us on Instagram. We also have a okay following on Instagram by Valley Standards. We also found out that by Valley Standards, everyone is on Twitter. So we also have a Twitter account. So search us on BehaviorMe. I believe that's our Twitter handle. And then behavior_me on Instagram. Yeah. And then sign up for our newsletter. We just started a nice newsletter campaign to inform everyone.
You and me both.
Yeah, there you go.
At Infinite Retina, we're doing all that too. So Infinite Retina is following you guys. So me and Irina are retweeting everything that moves. So.
Nice. Yeah, actually, you followed Chris, or one of our co-founders. He's like, Robert was my 100th follower. And he slacked that to us. I'm like, oh, that's funny. Just follow us. sign up for our newsletter, and we're more than happy to talk to anyone.
Very cool. Thank you.
Robert,
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you.